Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everyone. Finney here from Finney's Homebrew Pouring. So today I am just cleaning the Grainfather there, and we're going to do this first part of the Berliner Weisse. So I'm going to do a mash today, and then get the mash into here because we're doing a full batch version this time. And into there we're going to add lacto brothers. So we'll then leave that for 3 or 4 days, or however long it takes, to get the pH down to around 3.5, 3.6, and then yeah, we'll reboil it. So I mean, we'll hopefully film that all later. So for now, we're just setting the mash. Well, I'm cleaning, and then we're setting the mash. So there it is. I'll get it set up, and then I'll talk you through what we've got in there. Rightio, so here we are. The mash is set. And it's spinning around nicely, and not going down the middle, which is useful. So I've actually tried to do this as a no sparge. So we've got there's actually only about 2.25 kilo of grain in there, which is half Pilsner, half wheat. So hopefully, give it now. That'll be nice and clear, or clear enough. We can. The good thing about this, because we've got all the water in there, we can actually test the gravity of it as we're going along and see how far we're getting. But the plan is, just because I'm quite busy today, I don't want to do any sparging, so I'm hoping that this will work. And with the way the recirculating works, we'll have 28 litres of wort ready to boil up, just to sanitize it before we then cool down and put it into this. So once it's done, we'll cool it down, chuck it in here, put some foil over the top, put a blanket of CO2 under that foil, and add the lacto in. And hopefully we can just cool it to about 40 degrees with the counterflow chiller, and that will get us to where we need to go. And then we'll sour it, then boil it again with some bull hops. So Rightio, so we've just mashed out to 75. Hopefully you can sort of see down there what's going on. So now we're just really waiting for all this to drain out. The idea with this one is it being a no sparge, so I don't have to do as much work. So we'll bring it down, boil it for a minute just to kill things off. It's already been at quite high temperature, but yeah, and then cool it down using the counterflow chiller, and then pitch the lacto. Right, so we're recirculating now. So obviously it's coming up through there and through the top, and all the water's coming out here, quite hot. And hopefully this will come down to about 35-40 within about half an hour, and we can transfer to here, which is now full of a bit of star san in there. Just even though we're making sour beer, I still want to keep things sanitary, because I want the sour bugs that I'm putting in to be working, not anything else. So once we get that all filled up, we'll cover it with a silver foil, which will probably give a bit of a sanitize first. For those that use the Grainfather, when you do your cleaning at the start, obviously keep the water that you cleaned it with, because you wouldn't have used up too much of the cleaning power, so you can use it again at the end. Saves you using twice the amount, and yeah, it's good practice. Keep it clean. And so yeah, once I've finished here, we'll get everything set up, and then I'll just run you through how I'm going to set the sour worting going. Rightio. So mash is done. This we've got, probably looking at the levels, about 25 litres into the pot. There we go. So the temperature of it was about 35 degrees, so I got that right, moving it in. I've pitched the lacto into it already, and it smelled great. If the beer smells as good as that, then it'll be superb. So now what I'm going to do, this is where I need that GoPro that new Tone Brew Tom's using. But see, there's a bit of a gap here at the moment. I've got my CO2 cylinder here, and I'm gonna just squirt some CO2 underneath there. We don't want too much oxygen being in there with it, because that would detract from flavours. So we want it to do its thing without too much oxygen getting in. So hence the foil has been sort of crimped around the sides, and I'll put the lid back on, and hopefully I may try and, if I've got a couple of bulldog clips, I might just crimp it closed and then just let it sit and do its thing over the weekend, and then Monday we'll test the pH. So I'm just going to get this sorted. I've still got a little bit in the fermenter, so I'm going to be able to test gravity, and I'm going to test the pH to see what we're starting at, and see how long, what we get to on Monday, take a sample, and see how long. From that I could probably guesstimate how long it's going to take to do the rest of it. So bear with us, I'll get this sorted and I'll come back to you. So the weekend's been and gone, and here it is under here. It looks like we've had a bit of a crowding. You can see there's some stuff on the top, which we'd normally expect from a different thing. But so I did a reading this morning, and it was down at 3.8. No, sorry, 3.4. So I'm going to get this into the back into the boiler and boil it up for 15 minutes with a smidge of hops, and then transfer back into the fermenter with some regular old yeast, and we'll go from there. Alright, we've got it in. I didn't want to dirty my siphon with lacto, so I just poured it in, so hopefully it'll be alright. But I just had a little taste, and wow, it is tart, so that's pretty cool. For bittering, I was going to use like 2 or 3 grams of hallertau. I don't really have any hot packs open at the moment, but I do have some leftover Nelson Sauvin that I dried, and the aim of using them in sours in 3 or 4 years time, but I thought I might as well just throw a gram or 2 of those in, just for fun. So we've ended up with just under 25 litres in here, so it's a bit short of where I wanted it, but we're pretty much going to be able to get the whole of that back out again. The rest of it, what I've done, is in the back here, if I can get out of here, I've put it into this is going to be hopefully my lacto culture. That'll hopefully keep going, and hopefully with that we'll do some lambics with as well. That whole area in the back there, once this shop has finally got itself sorted, that's going to be where I store all my sour beers and keep them all in the right sort of spot, so keep them all together. So hopefully we'll have a bit better racking out there eventually, and cover it over so you didn't get a light strike and what have you. But that's the plan. So for the moment we're just waiting for this to boil, and then hopefully we'll cut to seeing it in the fermenter, sitting in the corner again, all happy. Well, anyway, excuse the mess because busy day today, but I'm just at the moment trying to help out my Berliner Weisse. So I did all that work that you saw earlier, and this is now I did that on the Monday, so it went into the fermenter Monday, and it's now Friday, and there's not really been a lot of activity in the thing. Like, there's a wee bit of slow airlock activity, but like if you look under the lid, you can probably see it's pretty flat on top, and there's not been any real activity. There's no sign of a krausen ever formed. So what I'm going to do, what I possibly think has happened is, you saw in the extract there was, obviously there'd been a krausen on the top that had hit the foil, and I think the lacto brothers had just taken off and fermented out most of the fermentables that were in the work. So what I'm doing is I've got a ½ kg bag of DME, and I'm just boiling up that in about 2 litres of water, and then I'm going to curl it down in this. This is my big 5 litre Berliner flask, and pitch another workhorse into that. So hopefully by the end of today, because I'm doing this in the morning, by the end of today that's starting to, you know, churn over and do some and have moving, and then we'll pitch the whole thing into the fermenter, and hopefully that gives it enough, you know, characteristics to, not characteristics, enough fermentables and enough to sort of get that going, and then hopefully, you know, if there's any other dextrins left in there and food stuff, it will ferment it out, and hopefully we'll get a lower final gravity. So that's the plan. So bear with us, hopefully we'll be able to do an update of whether that.
Yeah, it's now Tuesday. It's a long weekend, so I did all what you saw on Friday. Went away to the Abel Tasman, had a great time, and came back. And now today we can see that we have positive airlock pressure, and you can see we've obviously had a Krausen over the weekend. So it sounds like my plan worked. So I'm going to leave this for another couple of days. We've now got, because I've put in the extra in, we've probably now got 23 and a bit usable, usable amount. So that potentially I can get 5 different beers out of this now, which is cool. So I think Wednesday I'm off. So hopefully in follow-up video you'll be able to see me decant this onto a load of different fruits, and we'll have a nice sort of rainbow of different beers by the end of it. So it should be good. So that's the Berliner Weisse story so far. What I've got to put on the end of this this week is a couple of snippets from Cassels. Cassels & Sons is a brewery that's done really well after the earthquakes here in Christchurch. They've put a couple of bars together, put a new brewery into a bigger space, which you'll see, and they're going great guns. So it's really cool to see what they're doing there. And interestingly, the first kettle you'll see is actually a wood-fired one. So it's now apparently got a little bit of gas that helps it out towards the end. But mostly it is a wood-fired kettle, which is one of only 2 working ones in the world. So very cool to see. And they make some really good beers. Their best bitter is such a good beer. So yeah, enjoy that, and I'll catch you next week. Cheers.
Here's the new plan. Cold room, stack of fermenters, brew house. Maybe we got wet on the way here.